Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome. If you're just logging in or just getting ready to sit down, I'll wait for a minute or two. But I'm very delighted to have you here with me. I'm Kiki Hansard, and tonight we're gonna look at some ideas and ways to prepare for a positive birth experience and beyond. So also look at things that you can think about once your baby is here. Now, I am going to go through using a PowerPoint for this so I can show you a few pointers. And then I thought we could do some Q&As, questions at the end. I think it would probably be maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, this class. So I hope you stay with me to the end so I can help you and answer those specific questions you might have. But in the meantime, type away your questions. There's a comment box or a chat box next to the screen. I think it's on your right as you're looking at the screen. Just type any questions you might have, and I'll do my very best to answer them. So I'm just going to try and move on here and just share my PowerPoint with you, and then we'll get started. So bear with me. So I'm gonna get this to the beginning actually. So I want to share with you 5 secrets to help you prepare for a positive birth experience and beyond. And before we get started, it might be an idea to actually make the most of this viewing experience or this class by turning off everything that's you've got operating in the background. For example, if you've got your email system on or Skype or iTunes or anything like that, sometimes that can slow things down and it's not working as well. And also maybe turn your phone on silence, close your door, and just give yourself some time to discover and learn some new information with me. So if you've done all that, I also want you to stay tuned because I have a secret, the book I wrote, The Secrets of Birth. I really want to give you the chance to have a free chapter of my book. So stay tuned till the end and I will let you know how you can get your hands on that. And I'm hoping that will be a nice little gift because I'm really pleased that you've joined me this evening. So, would you like to tell me in the box, in the chat, live chat, when your baby is due? Have I got anyone here that's got a baby due this month? Anyone's got a baby due maybe next month? It'd be interesting to see how far along in your pregnancy you are. So, if anyone here that's pregnant, I hope so. So, has anyone got any babies due in the next few weeks, perhaps even? Okay, I'm just seeing some comments coming through here. Okay, so there's a few different due dates, different babies due at different times. Okay, well that's quite normal. That's usually what happens. But when I run one of these free classes, there's a variety of due dates and different stages in pregnancy. So some of these things you might not even have started thinking about actually because you're so early on in your pregnancy, or maybe you're so close to having your baby. The next thing I'd like to know is, are you feeling well prepared? It's really difficult, isn't it, to know what is well prepared, as there's so many things going around in your head, and especially early on in pregnancy, you're not really even thinking about when you're going to give birth to your baby. So maybe some of you are feeling more prepared than others. Maybe what's stopping you from getting better prepared is that it's so much information out there. I remember that myself from having my own children, that there was an enormous amount of information. And it's even more now when we've moved into a time when you can access pretty much everything online. There's an array of different information and different ideas. So it can be quite overload with all the information. So I just want to reassure you that you are in the right place if you're pregnant and you want to have a positive birth experience and feel confident in the first few weeks as a new mum. Because I want to try and help you get to that perfect place. You are in the right place if you want to feel well informed so that you can make the right choices for you and your baby. And you are in the right place here with me this evening. If you've started maybe some antenatal preparation already, and just exploring options, and maybe you already have a good idea about what you want to put in your birth plan or in your birth preference document. So I'm hoping I can help you or add to that already. So let's start looking at the 5 secrets to help you prepare for a positive birth experience. Well, the book I wrote is called The Secrets of Birth, and I'm actually discussing all these different secrets in the book. So I will talk a little bit about each one of them here tonight, but I don't want to spend, hours and hours because I know that that becomes quite boring. So I'll just pick some of the main points. But first, who am I? Well, there you see me when I first started out as a doula. So I'm a birth and postnatal doula, and I've been working with hundreds of women and couples, helping them prepare for the birth, as well as being there when they have had their babies, and also, prepared or helped afterwards in the postnatal period. So I got 2 girls, and they're 18 and 20 now. So that picture goes back a few years. It's taken with me on the sofa in Sweden. I'm originally from Sweden. So here I am lying on the kitchen sofa. Most Swedish kitchens have this wooden sofa in there. And I'm from Lapland, so that's the north of Sweden. We spent a lot of time there, and having my children really made me really interested in how important it is to be well supported, not only when you have your baby, but also afterwards. And on the other side, what I've done in those 16 years, I'm not only worked as a doula, I'm also a doula course facilitator. I run courses for doulas, and I do talks at workshops about different topics. And there I am talking at a charity for an organization called Birth Companions, who work and support women that are in prison having babies. And I was doing a talk there. So I have years of experience working around pregnancy and childbirth. And I really, really want to share that or start sharing that with as many of you as possible, because I believe it's got such a huge impact, the way we have our babies and the way we are supported during that time. So that's why I'm here talking to you and sharing these things with you all. So the first secret that I've identified, or that I believe that a lot of women aren't aware of, is that you are actually allowed to choose and do whatever you want in pregnancy and childbirth. And of course, in as being a parent as well. So what I often hear is women say that they had to do things or they weren't allowed to do other things. Like it's not unusual to hear women say I wasn't allowed to have a home birth, for example, because it was my first baby, or that I had to be induced because they told me there was no other options. And I think that we need to start waking up to the fact that you are actually allowed to choose what you want to do. And that's also the guidelines that are written in most of the NICE guidelines, which most of the hospital policies are based on. They should actually be supporting women in their choices, and also explain to them why they think that another way of doing things is better. But you should never actually be told you can't do something. Of course, you should listen to the medical views and look at statistics and get really good information so that you can make a good choice, rather than just believing that you're not allowed to do something. There is no reason why you can't have a home birth if it's your first baby, even though sometimes it is the case that there might not be enough NHS staff, so it's difficult for the midwives or the NHS trust to supply that service. But that should not really be something that is affecting you, because as someone that lives in the UK and someone who's having a baby, they should try and support you in your choices at every turn of your journey. So I wanted you to know that you are allowed, and it's just the way you discuss with your care providers what you would like to do, and then come up with a good plan together. The second secret is that childbirth is a physiological event. It's something that just actually happens in your body. Now, I don't want us to confuse physiology with physical. So, a physical event, it is a physical event too, just like running or climbing a mountain or anything like that. But when I'm talking about a physiological event, I'm referring to something that happens in your body with the help of hormones. So it's not something that you actually can think yourself into or actively encourage your body to do. It's actually something that just happens on its own. So, for example, you might recognize some other physiological events in your body. For example, a sneeze, when you eat food and that food is turned into energy and the waste is getting rid of. Going to sleep at night. I'm sure some of you might have experienced that feeling when you know you're going to get up early the next day. So you're lying in bed thinking, oh, I must go to sleep or I'm going to be so tired. But the more you're thinking about going to sleep, the harder it is, because you can't make yourself go to sleep. It's a physiological process that happens with the help of hormones, and childbirth is exactly the same. So it's something that is so important, especially in antenatal preparation, to understand that this is something that happens naturally if the circumstances are right. I do realize that sometimes there's other things that have an impact on the childbirth experience, but fundamentally it's a physiological event. It's not a medical event. It's something that takes place with the help of hormones in your body. So I think that's really important to know. Now, secret number 3 is kind of related to the second secret, but you don't actually need to study for childbirth, because all that's there, it's already within you. So the theory that you study and you learn as much as you can, and you try and control everything in terms of what's going to happen, sometimes makes it harder for the physiological process to take place, because you're so much in your thinking brain. Just like when you're lying there thinking about, I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. It's very much the same with birth. If you're thinking that it has to be a certain way, that you have a very solid birth plan, for example, it can actually be not a very not so good. It will actually not help that much with the birth process if you make it too complicated. So I like to not do birth plans. Actually, often with the women I work with and the couples I support, we actually talk about birth preferences instead of a plan, because I think if you get into academic and too specific on how you want the birth to be, it might end up feeling a bit disappointing if it's not exactly like you had hoped it would be. So having a preference will show the things that you would like to happen, but also it's worth learning about all the things in childbirth. So at least you know the pros and cons of different things, and that you know what might happen, what different scenarios might happen through the different choices you make. But it's really important, I think, too, to really look at yourself and be specific on what you think, what birth is kind of best for you, because there's no right or wrong way of giving birth. It's very individual, and it's of course up to every woman the way she chooses to give birth. And for you to know that, you do need to do some studying, but I think the studying here is different. It's more about knowing your options, knowing about the different things that happens in childbirth, and then be really open to the fact that anything could happen really. You can't really control birth because you have a baby there as well. And the baby is going to do its own thing. Then you have all the environment and the circumstances on the day. So the more that you can be accepting of, but while still making a birth preference document, but still be accepting of that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And as long as I feel part of the process and I understand the different choices I have and I can make, then it's still going to be a positive birth experience. I don't think a positive birth experience has anything to do with exactly what happens or how the birth takes place. It's more to do with how you feel involved and taking part in the birth experience that's going to make the real difference. Now, secret number 4, childbirth changes a woman's view of herself. And that's so very true. I know that an organization called Birthrights, who look into human rights in childbirth, did a survey on Mumsnet. And they found that over, I think it was 63%, even, it was over 50% of the women felt that childbirth had changed the way they felt about themselves or viewed themselves. And this was either in a positive light or in a negative light, or depending on the actual birth experience. And I really believe that women, as women, most women, we don't think about this as being something that will affect our actual personality for the rest of our lives even. So I think it's worth investing some time in learning about your different options so you can take part, an active role in childbirth. And that will definitely make you feel better about yourself rather than maybe just going with what your friends are doing or what everyone else is suggesting you should be doing. Find someone that is really supportive of you and listens to what you want to do. And I think that will be really, really helpful. I know that childbirth can really change you into a very, very strong person if you weren't that before, and vice versa. So I think this is a secret that we need to get out there, that childbirth really, really matters to women and how we feel about ourselves. And finally, secret number 5. And this is more to do with motherhood. There is no such thing as perfect parenting. Good enough will do. And this is an area where I feel we as mums, as women, could do so much more to support each other and be respectful of everyone's choices in bringing up their children. Being a parent is probably one of the toughest jobs, really, because there's no manual. You don't get the manual with a baby. You try different things. It's really a journey of discovery. So you will try different things, and some things work one night, and then the next night those same things don't work. And it does take a little while when you've just had a baby just to get your head around the fact that you now have this tiny little human you have to look after and feed and soothe and take care of, but also adapting to a completely new life, because it is different when you've had a baby. It's the best thing ever when you have your baby in your arms, and at the same time it's the biggest kind of change in your life where you have to adapt. And that can sometimes be the toughest part, I think, just getting used to that you now going to have a new normal, rather than really fighting and wanting to go back to everything being like it was before you had the baby. It's worth thinking about. I feel the first few weeks when your baby is a baby, the first few 6 weeks go so quickly. And I look back now and I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and I think, wow, where did the time go? And so make the most of that. That's my one top tip for your first few weeks with your baby. Really, as hard as it might be, really try and enjoy it as much as you can, because that time will never come back again. It's worth thinking of that the whole time when you're a parent. Every step of the way with your child is that time there and now, and you can't go back and redo that. So that's why you have to be forgiving for yourself, towards yourself, and remember that good enough is absolutely good enough. None of us are perfect. There's no such thing. So, what do you think? How do you feel? Does anyone have any comments you want to share after you've seen these different secrets? Do they make sense? Do you agree with me? Maybe you even disagree. I'd be more than happy to have that discussion with you. So please feel free to type in the live chat if you have something you want to comment on, or if you have any questions. So I've gone through all the 5 secrets, and maybe there was something that was unclear. Please feel free to ask me. I'd like just to add that the actual chat itself doesn't update as quickly as I am talking. So there's a little bit of a delay. So you have to forgive me if it takes me a while to get to your questions, but I will be able to do that as we move through this program tonight. The other thing I really, really want to share with you, which I think will come in so handy, not only when you're in labor, but also before and leading up to the day when your baby decides it's time to arrive. And it's a really good informed decision-making tool. And the acronyms for it is BRAIN, BRAIN. And I'd like to go through each one of those with you because it can be really difficult, and especially often for the birth partner when labor is happening, you're in the hospital, or maybe you're having a home birth, and there's something that is suggested, or maybe there's some advice given by the medical staff around you. And or maybe it's even happening before you're even in labor. So for example, we can use an induction of labor. So say you go for your 40-week appointment or even 39-week appointment. Very often now the midwife will at that point start talking about inductions, even though you haven't gone past your due date yet. So that might be something to be aware of too. So for example, you are being often offered an induction of labor, and how can you make an informed decision on that? Well, the B stands for benefits. So ask yourself, or ask the midwife, what are the benefits of this course of action? So what are the benefits of an induction of labor? So she will then go through the different benefits. And many of those will usually be, the guidelines are that the baby, it's kind of a normal to be pregnant for up to 42 weeks. And when you go past that date, these risks increase, which, by the way, is another thing you should take a good look at. Overall birth is 99.57% safe. So giving birth is very, very safe. Now, once you get past 42 weeks, is a slight increase in risk, but it's still over 99% safe to have your baby past 42 weeks. So these are some of the hidden facts behind a lot of the information out there. So the first thing is to find out the benefits of the induction. The next thing is to ask what the risks are. Because with every intervention, there's also a risk. Yes, I understand there's a small risk being pregnant past 42 weeks, but there's also some risks associated with an induction. And for you to make a really good informed decision, or you need to know what those risks are. I have noticed that very often the risks of the induction or the medical uh, advice are not often discussed. So it's then difficult to make an informed choice because you'll only hear the risks of not doing what they're suggesting. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take on board what the risks are if you go past 42 weeks, but it's also worth knowing about the risks with an induction. Now, the A stands for alternatives. What other alternatives are there? Are there any alternatives? Well, there are a lot of alternatives in terms of inductions. There's other things you can do apart from a medical induction. And those are some of the things you should look more into and learn more about. If there's anything, it's always good to know the pros and cons of all the different medical procedures and also the alternatives. So I'm sure often there are alternatives, but all too often, because we believe the first secret, which is you're not allowed to do certain things, you don't ask. So this is the A, the alternatives. Then you have the I for intuition. So maybe I did put on this slide, it's what, ask yourself what you feel in your heart to be the right thing to do. But I'm not sure if it's the heart. I think it's more that gut feeling. You know, what's your gut telling you? Is this something that I should be doing, or maybe I should go out there and look for another way of doing this? So look at what the intuition is. And then finally, the N stands for nothing. What if we do nothing? Can we just wait? And this is relevant whether we're talking about an induction or if you're in labor. You know, there's always good to ask, is there an option of doing nothing? Because sometimes it is. It's maybe a normal routine, or as they're called in hospital, clinical guidelines. So someone's just following these clinical guidelines. And by the way, the word guideline shows you that it's not a law. You're not going to get arrested if you don't follow the guidelines. But if you don't know that you can ask, what are the alternatives? Can we do nothing? Then that's often not suggested, because they're doing their job. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong, but they're following these guidelines, and you can actually, you can decline the guidelines. You don't have to follow those if you have different ideas or you feel confident in your choices. I have to say, there's actually nothing in life that's 100% safe. Even going out the front door, getting into a car, there's lots of things that have risk. And I do understand that when you're pregnant and you're having a baby, you do not want to take any risks. You want it to be 100% safe. But there's nothing that's 100% safe. As I say, childbirth is 99.57. So 99.6% safe. If you have a healthy pregnancy, then there's every chance that, it's over 99% safe. So bear that in mind. Childbirth itself is not dangerous. And then you have to just try and put everything into perspective, which is pretty difficult. I realize that, but it's generally safe. So I hope that's really going to help you, because meeting your baby for the first time is absolutely magical. And being with women and families, you really notice when that new person arrives in the room. It's nothing more wonderful. And with the right support, knowledge, and preparation, the birth of your baby can become an exciting adventure. So I think it's time for you to take the next steps and maybe discover a new way to prepare for your upcoming birth. So I've gone through a lot of information with you already, the 5 secrets, the BRAIN acronym to use as a decision-making tool. But I also wanted to just, if you stay with me for the next 5 minutes, I just want to quickly run through with you. And also at the end of this, do the Q&A. And I also have a special offering to you. So I have a complete antenatal program that will give you the roadmap to birth and beyond. And it will build on the information that I've already talked to you about. So I will dive deeper into a lot of these different issues and give you a lot more information on each of the topics that we touched on already. And you want to know where it is? Well, it's very, very easy for everyone to access, because the program is called Your Birth, Your Way, and it's completely online. And it's a complete antenatal program. It actually is more than an antenatal program, because it also goes into when you have your baby. It talks about in detail a lot of things. I'm going to show you. So it's a 6-week complete online antenatal program. And I created this to educate, to inspire, and to support you as you prepare for the birth of your baby and beyond. And it's all from the comfort of your own home, anywhere in the world. So if you're someone that travels a lot, if you have a partner or a husband that is away and it's difficult for you to arrange an antenatal classes locally, this is the perfect solution. Actually, the couples that have gone through the program have been able to use their logins in their different locations and then do their programs apart from each other. And then when they see each other at the weekends again, they've been able to discuss it. And it's worked really, really well for those couples that have tried it already. So this is Louise, who did the course last year, and this is her with her little baby. And she really felt that the course gave her a lot of tools, and she liked the way she could fit this into her schedule. The same with her husband, who was working away a lot. And they found the information really, really helpful in preparing for the birth of their baby. So what information is there? Well, there's 6 modules. And the first module is all about discovering your feelings around childbirth and where to give birth. So we'll look at media, family, and friends, how much you're actually influenced when it comes to shaping your feelings about childbirth and parenting. We'll also discover and learn more about where to have your baby. So I will walk you through each of the different options, the pros and cons, what happens in each place, and also teach you some really good techniques and tools for assuring that your baby's in a good position for labor and birth. And in the second module, I will talk about birth physiology in more depth. So we've already covered some of that. So you're already ahead in that area. But this will be more into things that you can do to help have a straightforward birth, and also go through a step-by-step, basically all the things that happens in labor and how you can avoid unnecessary pain in all the different labor stages. So in the module 3, so we have an overview in the second module, and then in the third module we will go deeper into all the 3 different stages. So we will look at recognizing when you're in labor. How do you know you're in labor? And also what happens when your baby's born, and the things to think about in the third stage of labor, which I don't believe many couples do. And of course, the fourth module is called birth management, and that's more about knowing what you say yes to. So here we will learn about all these routine medical interventions, which I mentioned inductions already. So we'll go more into detail about what happens in assisted births, cesarean births, and also look at all the different pain management options. So I will cover both pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical options, and make sure that you understand all the risks and benefits and maybe possible outcomes of choices you make when you're in labor. So this is a really interesting and good module to maybe do if you just want to do one module, say, and you're not interested in doing all of this program. Module 5 is all about managing your expectations with your newborn. So here I will give you some insights into what it might feel like when your baby's here. We'll look at all those common issues for new parents and babies, like rashes and spots and all those kind of things, how to recognize them and what to do about them. And also talk to you about what it might feel like to be a new mum. And in the last module 6, the last module, it's all about feeling well informed about your feeding choices. So this is preparing to feed your baby whatever you decide to do. The first kind of 2 lessons in this module is all about breastfeeding. So I will guide you through the basics of breastfeeding and how to set yourself up for a good start. And they will, of course, also talk about formula feeding and some tips on how formula feeding is slightly changing in a way to make it in a way better than it has been in the past, and some tips and tricks on that. So that's the complete program. And so what you get when you sign up is immediate access to all of the programs. So it's over 30 videos to watch. There's some downloadable worksheets and exercises and checklists. It's more than 25 of those. I also have these excellent extra resource sections, which will refer you to signpost you to other areas where you can get even more in-depth information. You might be someone that really wants to look into the research and get a real good understanding of the statistics, or you might be someone that rather look at some nice pictures to make more sense to you. We all learn different ways, so there's an enormous amount of extra resources there. Everything is online. You do not have to install any software, and you also get to have lifetime access to this program. So if you have a baby again in a couple of years or in a year, you can go back, and I will keep updating this program to make sure it stays up to date. So these are some of the worksheets. So there's a birth preference plan that template in the background. There's a contraction exercise, 3 steps to closing down your thinking brain to make labor easier. And I also have a handout for different massage techniques. These are just 3 of 4, sorry, can't count. These are just 4 of the handouts. There's another 21. These are really, really handy. You can print them off. You can do them away from your screen time, and it will just make you think more about how you want your birth to be. I also have some great bonuses. I want to create a community online, so I've set up this private members only group, and I will be in there every day, as well as other experienced doulas. It's a place you can go to ask questions, find out more information, find out where you can find out more about something even. And I'm also hoping that all of the mums that are in there will also support each other. It's so exciting when you can do this now, make a real good community online. I do understand that many couples want to go and meet people for the antenatal classes, and that's fair enough. But sometimes it can be difficult to get all the information you need because there's someone there with different needs that are taking over the lesson. Basically, we've all been there when there's one person who's doing all the talking and kind of monopolizing the whole session. So this way, at least you will get all the information because you can do it in your own time, and then you can also meet with other people. So another bonus is this beautiful diary. It's called Made with Love, Your Baby, and it's designed by Anna Wilk. And it's one of those brilliant little books where you can put the time your baby slept, the time your baby ate. Most new parents want to keep a record of this because it's kind of really difficult to remember when you're in it. And this book is also a nice little keepsake, I think, for your baby. When your baby's grown up, you can hand it over to them. Another great bonus is yoga, pregnancy yoga series, and it's by my friend Katie Appleton, who's a wonderful yoga teacher. This is the complete set, so it's not just her talking about doing yoga in pregnancy. It's actually the whole DVD, and again, this is online downloadable, so this will just come straight into your inbox, and you can put it on whatever devices you want to have it on. But it's a really, really good way, I think, to prepare for your birth, to do yoga. It just helps with that relaxation, breathing, and getting more into your body and feeling what's going on. Now, the final bonus is something that I'm offered it to one of the packages, which I've called the VIP package. And there you get a whole hour with me, one-to-one, personal, and exactly private. Well, it's exactly what you want to discuss. So you can spend the whole hour talking to me about a specific topic, or we can split this into 3 20-minute sessions that we can do spread out through the weeks that you're going through the program. And I'm more than happy to help you formalize some kind of birth preference. If you have specific questions that you want to ask, and can be difficult to ask in a big antenatal class where there's lots of other people. Of course, I'm going to be in the Facebook group as well, so you can ask me questions there if you do not want to sign up for the VIP package. So let's get down to business. What's your investment? This is what you want to know most of all. I know I would want to. So I'm really pleased you're hanging on for this bit. And it made me think the other day, so what is an investment? What's expensive? What is too much to spend? Well, I'm not sure if you're going to be surprised by this fact, but I was very surprised when I found out that the cost of an average wedding in the UK last year was £27,161. Wow, I was really taken back. I had no idea that that's the average that we spend on a wedding in the UK. And it made me think, how much are you planning to spend on other important days of your life, like the birth of your baby? I mean, that's a pretty big day too, right? And it's amazing to see. I did actually read some statistics that first-time parents spend around £1,600 on things for the baby, like prams and bedding. And a lot of the time, a lot of that money was spent on things that they never actually used. So my top tip is, don't buy lots and lots of things beforehand. Wait till the baby's here, and then you'll know what you need. Now, my program, Your Birth, Your Way, is £27 for the individual modules. So if you wanted to do just one module, your investment is a measly £27. You can pick from any of the 6 different modules and just go ahead, do that module. You have lifetime access to it, and it's £27. Now, if you wanted to do the full program, you can get started today for £75. And that is 2 payment plans. You can pay monthly for 2 months, or if you wanted to, you can pay it all in once for £147. And then, as I said, I mentioned the VIP limited package, which I can't take too many on in this package, because obviously the one-to-ones will take up a lot of my time. But this is, you can sign up for this for £125 for 2 payments, or a one-time payment of £247. Now, this is what it looks like when you get into your members area. Everything's online and you get all the lessons one after the other. And the total package, here it is, all these wonderful things, the complete package, all the bonuses. And if you sign up for the VIP bonus, you also get that personalized one-to-one with me. Okay, the other thing, I'm so grateful that you're hanging on till the end, because this is what it looks like. Here are the different packages that you can choose from. And because you've been hanging on for so long, and I know we've been going now for nearly 45 minutes, I would like to actually, if you sign up for one of these, if you sign up for either the full program or the VIP program, I will send you my book. Actually, I'm not going to just send you a free chapter. I'm going to send you the book. If you sign up for an individual module, I will send you a free chapter if you sign up before Sunday. And the other thing I want to offer you, and this is only for the full program and the VIP program, I'm going to give you a special 15% off, only because you've sat through these 45 minutes. I'm really hoping you've taken something away from this, though, that you can use towards your preparations for when your baby arrives. So this is my special offer to you, and that is the end of this PowerPoint presentation. So these are some other testimonials I've had from 2 other women that came through the program. And you don't have to just do this. If you already signed up for NCT or hypnobirthing like Imogen here did, she still went through the program, and she felt that it gave her a lot of extra knowledge. So let me get out of here and end this now and get back to the Google. Hi, I'm back. Hello. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them. So I'm having a look, and actually someone's already emailed me a couple of questions. So I will jump straight into them, I think, while I wait for this to catch up. If anyone's there and you have a question, please go ahead and type it and I will answer it for you. So one of the questions I had, which I'll quickly answer, I think I only do another 5 minutes because I think we're all getting a bit tired listening to me, one of the questions I had was actually from someone that said, okay, you are a professional birth partner, you're a doula. So, what is the one top tip that you would give to my husband if you were talking to him? Because he's going to be my birth partner. Well, I've been thinking about this. I mean, I only got the question about an hour ago, so just before I came on air. So I didn't have too long to think about it. But actually, I think a top tip would be, apart from, this is my always top tip, is to get a doula. You know, having a doula is not just for the woman, and it's not someone that's going to take over from the other birth partner either. Having a doula there will really help both of you. The doula supports the birth partner just as much as she supports the woman in labor. So that would be my top tip. Definitely get a doula. It's so good to have someone there that you can ask for. You just ask if this is normal, to find out, is this normal? Is things going well? Do we need to do something? All those things that pop up when you're with a woman, with your wife or girlfriend in labor, is really helpful to have someone else there who's been at births before and can help you with that. My other top tip, apart from that, is to view this as a process. That is not always something, birth isn't something you need to fix. What the woman really needs is someone to be there completely for her. It's important that the environment is warm and safe, and that you are able to be with her on this process of childbirth. So it can be difficult because you see someone behaving maybe in a way that is not something that you've seen before, and it might be worrying. But actually, all women have their own coping ways throughout labor, and for you to believe in them and support them in that is probably the best thing that you could do. So get well educated so that you can support your wife or girlfriend. That's my top tip. The other question I had, which I will finish with, is what should I take to hospital? And I'm planning a home birth. So actually, do I need to pack a bag? Well, even if you're planning a home birth, it's always a good idea to pack a bag. And part of my antenatal program actually includes a super duper list of things to pack to take to the hospital. And some of the more odd things that you might think about are things like a torch, for example. It's always good to have some nice pillows. Make sure you have some different, don't put white pillowcases on the pillows, because it's easy then to get them mixed in with the pillows in hospital, even though the pillows in hospital are not as comfortable as your own pillow. But it's much easier to see that this pillow doesn't belong in the hospital if you have a different color cover on it. So that's a top tip. And make sure you pack lots of food. Always take a lot of good healthy snacks with you to hospital. You never know how long you're going to be there, and most of the time the vending machines have nothing but chocolate and crisps, which can be difficult. Well, at least they are for me, to eat 3 o'clock in the morning when you're a bit hungry and you really want something more substantial. So I am going to leave with that question, because I was only going to be on here for half an hour, 45 minutes. It's just gone past 45 minutes. So I just want to wish you the very best. I want you to have a really good, happy, and positive birth experience. And I'm hoping you can utilize some of the things that we talked about here. And I also would love to see you inside my antenatal program so I can support you further, so that you can have the positive birth that you and your baby deserves. So thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And I hope to see you again. Bye.